I mean, we're struggling, but for 6 months of going through this, I would think that we would be in a more worse place. Morning, everyone. So I pretty much just got on here because I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. I know I kind of just like started posting all these videos and didn't really explain or introduce ourselves, I guess is more the words for it. So I'm currently in the parking lot at work. I go in at 9, so I have a little bit of time. I always get to work early, so I'm an early bird. I always do everything early so that if something happens, something comes up, I know I still have that leeway time. That's just the type of person I am. Anyways, yeah, so I know, like I said, I just started posting vlogs and y'all don't really know much about us, but I thought I'd introduce, you know, us a little bit too and stuff like that. So, I mean, of course, as you know, I'm Christy, and my husband's name is David, and we live in Texas. I know I explained to you a little bit that I'm not originally from Texas. I'm actually born and raised in Illinois. Well, my husband's born and raised here in Texas, you know. So we have 2 kids together. We have a 6-year-old, which is Kason, and a 4-year-old, which is Christian. You've seen them in the videos too. So they're our boys. I also have a stepson, which is my husband's biological son. He's 16 years old. His name's Josh. He really doesn't stay with us. He comes around, you know, when he can. So that's why you guys really haven't seen him yet and stuff. I've known him, you know, since he was in like probably like 3rd, 4th grade. So I mean, to me, that's my son. So but yeah, that's like our family. And when me and my husband were first together, I mean, of course, you know, we both had our jobs and everything. I used to be a police officer. When I met my husband, I was a police officer, and I did that for 2 years. And he worked. So where we live, we have an Air Force base, and he worked on base. My husband is an aircraft mechanic. He went to school, he went to college for that, and he has his license, you know, to work on aircrafts. So my husband's only done aircrafts since he graduated, you know, from college and stuff, and he's always liked it. I mean, it's given him so many job opportunities. And I've only ever done law enforcement. That's all I know. When we had our first son, Kason, he was born prematurely. He was only 4 pounds. So he needed, you know, full-time care and stuff. And so that's when we decided for me to quit my job. And for about 2 years, I raised him. And I mean, I taught dance. I've been dancing like ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, all that stuff since I was like 3 years old. My mom's always had me in dance. So I taught dance at a studio that my old dance teacher in high school and coach that she owns. So I used to teach dance there. So it worked at that time. At that time, we were living with my mother-in-law because, well, my credit wasn't that great, and then my husband, well, you know, just choices that he made when he was younger, you know, and wasn't really responsible with his money. So when we were together and we knew that we were going to spend the rest of our lives with each other and stuff, even before, you know, we had kids and stuff, we knew that we were going to need, you know, to get our own house, but our credit wasn't that great. So we lived with my mother-in-law for like a good 2 years working on our credit, and we worked very hard. My husband is very good at working on like doing credit stuff and all that and helping people fix their credit. I mean, he was able to fix both of ours to this day. I mean, he's constantly checking it and working on it and stuff like that, to where we're blessed that we both have really good credit. So that's kind of like the backstory of that. And then when we bought our house, by the time we moved in, I was about to have our second son. And, you know, he was born early too, a little bit early. Not as early as Kaysen, because Kaysen had to get flown out to another hospital because our hospital didn't have a NICU. Christian, he was able, you know, he wasn't too early to where he would have to be in a NICU. He was fine and, you know, and stuff like that. So, we didn't have any, you know, like, scares or complications with him. So, yeah, so the whole time my husband was doing aircraft and stuff, and, I mean, I worked full-time too. I work for the state and stuff, so, and I still do. Once my oldest was about 2, I went back to work. So, because I knew, you know, well, we wanted to buy a house, and I would have to be getting more of an income than what I was making, you know, at the dance studio and stuff, for them to be able to approve us, you know, for a loan for the house and stuff. So, we've been doing that. Well, as time, you know, goes on, I don't know, it was like my husband just decided, he said that in the beginning, he just started to feel like, you know, he didn't want to work for someone anymore, or how do you say, like making money for someone else, or he's like, you know what, he's a very hard worker, and he's like, and if I can work this hard for someone else, he's like, I know I can work this hard, you know, for myself, like, cause and then that's where he got his dream of wanting to own his own business and becoming his own boss. And we were doing pretty good at home, money-wise and stuff, to where we had a little bit of extra cash that we just had there, and, you know, that we didn't know what to do. We knew we wanted to invest it, but we just didn't know what to do with it exactly, if that makes sense. So that's where he got the idea of, like, okay, well, he wanted to do something for, you know, to be like his own boss. A family member of his called him and gave him this idea to have, like, you know, a trucking company and to go into business with him, and because he, you know, knows a lot about 18-wheelers and trucking, because that's pretty much all he he's always done and stuff. So he had the knowledge, and my husband had, like, the knowledge of, like, the business side, because my husband was reading a lot of, like, books and stuff like that about, you know, owning your own business. So after talking and us, you know, we went over stuff, and my husband was talking to his family member and all that, we agreed, you know, okay, this is the first step. I mean, when it comes to wanting to own your own business stuff, you have to take risks. And that's something that he explained to me, because I've always been like a penny pincher, kind of like, you know, but I mean, I dove in. I trust my husband, his judgment. He's a very smart man. So we dove in, and things were going good, you know. And of course, no matter what you go through in life, there's going to be bumps. Stuff's going to come up. So almost a year ago, back in October, we had like a little hiccup where, and I mean, and we're understandable. We're just very blessed that when this happened, we already had church in our life. We feel like the way me and my husband look at things, it's like everything happens for a reason. And we started going to church at the right time, because I feel like if we didn't have the church, or, you know, our spirituality and the support we have through the church, at the time that we went through this hiccup, I don't think we would have handled it the way we have, if that makes sense. So his family member, they were going through some, you know, financial stuff. I don't really want to get too much into it because it's not my story to tell, but it played a part to where they had to make a decision. He had to make a decision on to kind of like pull out of the company, and he had to go back to work. He had an opportunity that was presented to him that, I mean, he felt like he couldn't say no to, which is fine. My husband was very understanding. even if it wasn't family, we would still be understanding. We would want, you know, it was like my husband said, like, he understands family-wise, like, you know, you need to watch out for your family. And if an opportunity shows up that, you know, you need to take, then he's like, I probably would have taken it too. So he was understanding on that, but at the same time on the business side, the way it happened, I feel like maybe things could have happened a little bit better, like to where my husband had, like, you know, time in advance, I guess, to prepare to take control of the entire company on his own, whereas he really didn't have that time. It was more of a, in one day he woke up normal, like, okay, we're gonna get going to work, blah, blah, blah. And then that afternoon, it was like, okay, things changed all of a sudden. So, I mean, there's no ill feelings or nothing. Like I said, we understand. That's kind of our situation right now. And then that was, maybe about like six months ago. Yeah, like 6 months ago. So since then, I mean, we've been kind of going through a season. Of course, you know, everybody goes through seasons in their lives, and I feel like we really hadn't hit, like, we've been through things, me and him, in our life together, but I feel like nothing like what is going on right now. So, I mean, there's just a lot of changes going on with the company, and there's been definitely some ups and downs and some struggles and stuff, but I feel like, you know, like, because we have our spirituality, we understand why things are happening, and we don't view things as, oh, like, why is this happening to us? Like, now, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be moments where we're like, really, like, we can't catch a break, you know? Like, it's like, sometimes, honestly, in these past 6 months, it's been like one thing after another. I'm not gonna lie, it has. Like, things just have not been going, things never go as how you planned, right? So it's just been like one thing after another, but it just seemed like for a while it was just all negative, you know? And we're talking about like a good 5 months. It's been recently where things are starting to pick back up. But I feel like because of the back, like, you know, our spirituality and our church and everything and stuff, that we view it differently. We don't view it in, I mean, yes, we're gonna have our moments where it's negative, but we've also been viewing it as like a learning experience. I mean, we've handled things way more calmly. We've learned a lot. And now when something happens, we're like, okay, you stress a little bit, then you stop, you think about it, and you're like, okay, you can't stress what you can't control. All you can do is just move forward and do what you can. So that's kind of how we've been handling things. We've been so blessed. Good morning. So it is the next day. I had to stop filming in my car yesterday because my husband was calling me about something that I had to help him with his business. And then as soon as we were done with the conversation, I had to go back into work. But I was pretty much almost done anyways. But like I said, like, just to sum it up, like, even though we're going through all this, we've learned and we've seen it ourselves that when we need to be provided for, God's gonna provide for us. It's just always been working out. And I can't really explain it, but all I can tell you is that it's working out, and to the point where we're not struggling. I mean, we're struggling, but for 6 months of going through this, I would think that we would be in a more worse place. Not that I want to be, but you would think, you know what I mean? And we've just kept our faith and stuff, and you just keep a positive, and it's hard. And that's the thing, as humans, like, it's really hard to keep that positive mindset because our brains are just naturally wired. I minored in psychology, so I don't know a lot, but I know a little bit. And our brains are just naturally wired to focus on the negative and to think of the negative. So it's hard work. It really is. It's hard work to point out the positives and to keep that positivity even when it's not happening in the moment, but to tell yourself it's just temporary and it will get better. So it's hard for our brains to get our brains to do that, but it is work. But when you do that, it becomes a habit if you do that more often, and then you just notice that you just start doing it without even trying. It just becomes natural, like how it was natural for your brain just to focus on the negative. So I feel like we're going through this season for a learning experience for both me and my husband. Things are starting to look up, opportunities are coming up. Are things gonna get better right away? I don't know. They might, they may not. But I do know that they are gonna get better. Things are starting to look better, and I feel like if we're not comfortable and prepared for stuff like this to happen, then, you know, you can't, I mean, how are you gonna bring yourself up if you're not ready for all the possibilities? You know what I mean? So, and that's definitely something that we've learned too. Like, now we know what could happen, especially when it comes to owning your own business. So when we get back on our feet, we're definitely going to be very prepared for next time, because I mean, this may not be the only time we go through a season like this. So, but yeah, that's kind of just really what I want to talk to you guys about, and kind of just introduce us and where we're at in our life right now. I hope that, you know, as I continue making these videos, y'all get to know us more and stuff. Of course, I want y'all to know how we got here and stuff, but this video is probably already longer than what I expected it to be. So, but hopefully that will come. But yeah, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. My goal is to post 2 times a week. If I could post more, that'd be awesome. But it is tough because I am a full-time mom, a full-time wife, and I have a full-time job. So it is tough, but if I can maintain at least 2 a week, I feel like that would be pretty good. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.